Smash Bros. A casual party game you can play with your friends to wind down after a long, grueling day. Yeah, no. Smash, despite being labeled as a party game, has an extremely competitive scene where players compete in major tournaments all over the world. But if you clicked on this video, you knew that. And if you know competitive Smash, you've heard about Luigi.
Oh yeah.
Recently, Luigi's been a huge topic of conversation. He's won 3 major tournaments within the first month of 2026 and has earned a spot in S tier. With Luigi being counted as a mid tier just years ago, how did he climb up the ranks so fast? To put it simply, Luigi is bullshit. His up B kills super early, his grab can lead into insta-death combos, and his aerials can combo into almost anything. I mean, he's literally the definition of a touch of death character. Luigi is still technically top of A tier, but this could easily change. According to Akola Maya's new 2026 tier list, Luigi is sat at a comfortable 8th place out of every character in the game, moving up to S tier. The big issue with this is that this tier list isn't technically official, and their placement of Marth being the new worst character in the game, it may raise an eyebrow. But even though this tier list might be a little controversial and, well, unofficial, it can give us a few insights on where Luigi may be placed. I mean, he did get a lot of attention with these recent tournament wins, but does that really place him in S? Well, in order for us to tell where he would be placed, we first need to know what makes a character S tier, and how the official lists are actually made. Each official Smash tier list is built based on tournament data. If a pro player performs well with one character, it may be placed higher on the tier list than if that same player didn't perform well with another. So, hypothetically, let's say Mia had better results when playing Steve than when playing Mr. Game & Watch, and therefore Steve would receive a higher ranking than Mr. Game & Watch on the next official tier list. But on the other hand, if a meta character gets easily counterpicked by a different character, that other character may move up the tier list as it would gain more light in major tournaments. A good example of this may be Min Min or Pyramithra, as they counteract the current Steve meta. But even then, that still isn't everything that determines a character's placement on a tier list, because these lists are mainly built off character potential. But what does that mean? Well, character potential means how well a character could perform at their absolute best. Take Ganon for example. His moveset is simplistic and predictable, he has horrific speed, both on stage and in air, and above all else, he's pure combo food. This makes his character potential extremely low, making him the worst character in the game. Technically, this way of creating a tier list isn't really used anymore. Now they just take like 150 to 200 pro players, smack their opinions of characters together, and boom, there's your list. But for the sake of I can't accurately predict 200 people's opinions, I'm gonna do it this way. How has Luigi been performing at recent tournaments? Well, on just the second weekend of 2026, pro players Raru, Waka, and Luigi all showed us how good Luigi really is, winning Sumabato, SP65, Ragnarok, and Smashdown. Keep in mind that 2 of these tournament wins were against Snake, who is currently put at the top of S tier and is the 3rd best character in the entire game. In 2025, Waka also placed 3rd place in S Factor 12, 2nd place in Delfino Raza, 3rd place at Posada Gamer, and 9th place at Best of the West 3. All of these results were with Luigi, and during one of Waka's matches in S Factor 12, he actually ended up facing Maru, which doesn't really relate, it's kind of just a fun fact. Raru and Luigi also had similar results, with Raru actually placing 1st in Sumabato SP56 back in February of 2025. With these kind of results, I think it's fair to say that Luigi is definitely at least a competitor for S tier, based purely off of tournament data alone. Now looking into Luigi's matchups, we can refer back to some of these top players and look at their matchup charts. For this, we can look at Luigi's and Raru's matchup charts and determine whether or not Luigi may be a good pick in the current meta. Now, most meta picks in Smash mainly consist of 3 types of characters. First we have the zoners, then we have the rushdowns, and finally, we have the touch of death characters. These 3 groups work like a giant game of rock, paper, scissors, with the zoners beating out the touch of death characters, the touch of death characters beating out the rushdowns, and the rushdowns beating out the zoners. And we can see this in Luigi and Maru's matchup charts, with characters like Fox and Little Mac being Luigi's best matchups, and Rosalina and Luma being his worst with varying different placements. Now Luigi as a character doesn't have the most meta matchups, generally doing worse against most S tier characters like Pyramithra and Cloud, but that alone doesn't really hold him back. I mean, Luigi is meant to be a wall of moves that can string together pretty much anything. And yes, Cloud and Pyramithra can technically work around it, having giant swords and good spacing tools, but that does not mean they are completely immune to Luigi shenanigans. With all this in mind, I would say Luigi is in the middle ground of matchups. He mainly performs well against big and punishable characters, which you don't usually see much of in competitive Smash, but that does not mean he performs bad against other characters. Which finally brings us to character potential. Luigi as a character is slow and predictable, you know where he's going to fall, he has horrible airspeed, and his recovery can easily be taken advantage of. But that's it for flaws. His aerials have next to no end lag, his up B kills extremely early, he has so many kill confirms, he has tools to zone you out, and when you finally get up close, his up B can be used as an out of shield option. His down B has invincibility frames and a crazy win box, his Zair can be used to ledge trap, combo, or to zone, and he has the same 0 to death combo for 8 years now. And not to mention his side B, which has a 1 in 8 chance of misfiring, which can either be used as a recovery or just as an instant death skill check. Even his down taunt can kill you. Okay, maybe that last one wasn't too practical, but you get the point.
You might be thinking, but Smash is a game mainly about movement. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I did list Ganondorf as the worst character in the game, if not one of the worst characters in the game, mainly because of his movement, mainly because of his approach. But that doesn't mean Luigi's the same way. Thing is, Luigi may have bad movement, may have not the best approach in the game, but he also limits movement. He's a wall. Same with Snake. Snake doesn't have the best movement. Snake doesn't have the best approach. Snake doesn't need to approach, but he can limit your movement. And in a game that's mainly based around movement, that's pretty good.
Overall, Luigi is just busted, and he'll probably get more busted as time goes on. It's crazy and yet realistic to think that this character is yet to be fully broken down and represented to its absolute best, though I will say that people who play him professionally do a pretty dang good job. So we know Luigi has been doing great in tournaments, has decent matchups, and a ton of future potential as a character. But is this enough to make him S tier? I believe so. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. It means a lot to me and tells me that you want to keep seeing videos just like this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm probably going to go play a different game because this one is turning my head into mush.